Okay, I'm gonna try to make another Dragon Dice video, just to show you a little bit about the game. I do not have the rules for the current edition, which I believe is 4th edition. I know a little of them, but this is the rule book that I learned the game on. So if you want to learn how the game was originally played, this is the book to buy. I'm trying to get it so you can see who wrote it. You can get this on eBay. It's a very thorough book. It's very, very cool. It's how many pages? 185 is there, so a little bit more than that. Anyway, what I've done here is I've separated all of the different races on the table, and they are races, which I'll go over here as best I can. In this book, you'll get all the rules for playing the first edition of the game, and I do highly recommend it. But if you want to learn the current one, then you have to go to their site, and you can. I don't think they have the core rules for sale right now. I think they're out of stock, but I'm not sure about that. I haven't checked. Last time I checked, they were out of stock. Anyway, there were 4 races originally: 2 evil and 2 good. Here are the 2 evil races. And the way you know they're evil is because they have black in their color. So these are the lava elves, and they are black and red. Red being mountains or fire is what the red would represent. So you have lava elves. And notice that each die has a different identification, the ID, it's called. When you roll these dice, if you get the ID, it gives you whatever you want that roll to be. So if you're rolling to attack, that's a hit. If you're rolling to block, that counts as a block. If you're rolling to maneuver, it counts as a maneuver. It counts as a missile. It counts as magic. This is like the wild card. You always want to roll your ID. On the die is what each die can do, and they're different. So this one has 1 attack here. Those are missiles. Every symbol on each race is unique for its race, so you have to learn all these symbols. So, but most of them are obvious, like that's maneuvers, it's a foot, and so then there's a second missile attack, and then on the bottom that is a shield. It looks like magic. It's a little deceptive, but it's a shield. Then what? Okay, what we have here is this is a 1 health unit, this is a 2 health unit, 3 health unit, and the big bad 4 health unit. So these are common, these are uncommon, these are rare, and then these are monsters. Monsters are the 10-sided dice. A 1 health unit dies if it takes 1 point of damage. This dies with 2 points. This dies with 3 points. And a monster, it takes 4 points to kill a monster. So let's look at the 3 health unit just to show you a little comparison here. So this one has 4 melee attack. It has 1 wing, which is maneuvers or saves. And it's got another die with 2 attack. Now here's 5 wings. So you have the 1 wing, which we thought was 3. And then here's 5, which is really good. And then it also has a side of the die that has 4 missiles. So it's quite versatile. Do you want versatile, or do you want to maximize? Do you want to go all in on attacking? Do you want to go all in on magic? Do you want to diversify and do different things? The monster's ID always has that little arrow thing at the top of the head, see? So this really is a monster. It has its own face, and it has different things. And there's the magic icon, trying to get the focus, for the lava elves. Come on. Boy, oh boy. You know when it won't focus. So that's the difference between a shield, and it really is obvious once you get used to it. But the face looks very similar on the die. Anyway, there's all kinds of different abilities on the 10-sided die. When you build an army, so let's say you're going to build a 30-point army. Well, if I was using these 4 units, that's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, that's 10 points. So if I wanted to build a 40 health army, I could put in 10 monsters because they're all 4 points, and that would be 40 health. I could put, let's see, that'd be 13, 3 health units would be 39 plus 1. Or I could do 20 of these guys, or I could do 30 of those guys. Did I say 30 health? Yeah. I did this one wrong. 10, I'm thinking 40 for some reason. Okay, I'm just going to bumble through this. Just bear with me. So if I wanted a 30 health unit, and I wanted a 30 health army, and I wanted just lava elves, because you can make these armies any way you want, I could make 10 of these 3 health units, and that would be my 30 health army. Or 15 of these 2 health, or 30 of 1 health. So you can mix and match. You can do a little of everything, and you can use all the races, any race. You can combine races. It doesn't matter. You don't have to have an army of lava elves, but you can. The other one is the other evil race in the game were goblins. Hence, look, see how they look. You can even see they look like goblins. That's a troll. So they had to pick what monsters will goblins have. Well, one of them is a troll. And so here you see they have shields. Here's a magic icon. It's a special ability that it has. This is their normal magic symbol. What else do we have here? There's their feet. So it's very it's real easy what they do. I'm trying to show you a different one. So here's the goblin's little axe, I guess you could use it as. And then there's a die that has 2 points, and it's got a foot. So it has different abilities. Now, each of these races has their own unique abilities, especially at certain terrain. The terrain is part of the game. It's an integral part of the game. But let me show you the other 2 races. These are the coral elves. They are. Oh, I didn't go over the colors, did I? Yes, with the goblins. The goblins are gold and black. The gold represents earth. So you have earth magic and black magic from the goblins. Coral elves represent blue and green. You would think the blue is the water, but no, the green is the water. And I know it's a little hard to see the green on here. The blue represents air. So you have air and water. And see, now here's their missiles. There's their melee, the swords, and that's like a little wand. So that's their magic. There's a shield for the monster. This is a maneuver. It's a boat. The detail in this game is something else. So those are coral elves, and they when each of these races is at a terrain that matches their color, they get an ability. Some get abilities. Not everything's going to match terrains exactly, which I'll show you in a second. But every race has its own unique abilities that it brings to the combat. And the other race, the original race, were the dwarves. So these guys are earth, gold, and fire, or mountains, red. For instance, the dwarves in the original game, and I don't know what the changes are for 4th edition, when these guys were in the mountains, when the terrain was it's called the highlands, they could double their maneuvers. Very quick little dwarves in the mountains. These guys, if they are in the coastland, I think it was called the coastland, their maneuvers also count as saves. The goblins double their maneuvers when in the swamplands, and the coral elves have the same terrain match as the dwarves, the highlands, and their maneuvers count as saves. So that was the original game. Then you have, over here, the 5 dragons that you can summon in the game, all one of each color. And you'll see some of the heads are facing different ways. That's just I forget what it denotes something, but it's not that important. And you need 7 points of magic to summon a dragon. For instance, if I roll magic and that comes up, that's a 1 health unit. This is the little health, so that's 1 point of magic. If I rolled a bigger one, this is the big 3 die, that's 4 health of magic right there. because that's their magic symbol, or their what's called a cantrip. Every race has the handprint. That's the cantrip. That's also just magic. And I know that sounds a little confusing. I'll try not to confuse you too much. It's going to be hard though. All right, these are the terrains. I don't know if I'm missing one. I'm trying to remember. So we have the dwarven terrain for the lava elves too. This is the highlands, I believe. The coastland terrain. So your blue and green, air and water. Your flatlands. Nobody matches the flatlands, but this is earth and air. So blue and gold. And then the swamplands, which is the terrain for the goblins. The goblins double their maneuvers when in that terrain. The dwarves double their maneuvers in this terrain. The lava elves get their ability, and the coral elves get their ability. Nobody got anything at this one, so it was it didn't give anything initially. But then they came out with the feral, which matched the flatlands, so they do get an ability in the flatlands. All right. So as the game progressed, they started to make new races. I'm just going to go over some of them. These are called tree folk. They match the swampland, and so you can see it's green and gold, so water and earth. Tree folk originally were very powerful in the game. I have no idea what the power levels are these days. They decided to make Amazons. So the Amazons are colorless. You can see their ID is on an angle. I'm assuming they did that intentionally just to make them stand out a little bit. Amazons have their own unique abilities, and they're fun to play. Then here we have blue and red. These are the fire walkers. So air and fire. So they have, again, they all come with their own unique abilities, their own unique things, and you can see the different symbols. Like that one's magic, and then this one is missiles, different things. All right. These guys were greatly feared when they first came out, very powerful. They're called Swamp Stalkers. And my phone says focus. What's a focus? I don't know what a focus is. There we go. Swamp Stalkers were nasty. Again, I don't know the situation these days. We toned them down, though, because they were a little bit too much. Then we have red and blue. No, I'm wrong. Red and green. Firewalkers were red and blue. Scalders are red and green. So fire and water. So that's hence Scalders. I don't know too much about them. I'm not sure. I forget what their abilities were, but they were neat. Then they decided to let's make some undead. So here are the all black undead. Very, very fun. Everybody loves playing with the undead. They went with the wild, the animals in the flatlands. So you've got all of your feral, very well received race, very good, very well, seemed to be very well balanced. Then they came out with Frostwings, and I'm not doing this in the order. I forget the order they came out in. I think the tree folk, I think, were the last ones. The Scalders were later. I think the original ones to come out were the feral, the swamp stalkers, the firewalkers, and I forget which other one came out next. So these are the Frostwings, black and blue. So air, they fly. A lot of flyers here. And they're black, so they're evil. And they have their own unique abilities. For some reason, this was the original color of blue and black, and then they changed it to this blue and black. I don't know why. I don't know what the reasoning was. I have no clue why that is. I prefer this look better. I think these look better. I think the blue stands out more. It's hard. I'm trying to get it so you can see it. But these are these are Frostwings as well. Frostwings was their name. Actually, I have a little starter box that you can buy of each of the races. So there's your Frostwings, and here's Amazon. There you go. So neat little boxes that you can buy. Okay, These were mostly promotional dice. I don't know if they're worth much these days. I know this one is on eBay for like 28 bucks. It's called the King's Die. I don't think it's used in the game today, but I could be wrong about that. This one was an absolute killer in the game when it first came out. The guy with the bolts in his head. Now you see these guys all have them too, but I think these are slightly weaker versions. And these are all keyed to a different color. So you've got your, I'm guessing that's gold. I've never played with these dice. I have them, but I've never played with them. I played with the red and the blue, these two. And I've played with these two. That's it. I've never played with the other ones. This one's a Dragon Master. So apparently he can control dragons, but this one's more deadly in battle. We found that out real quick. Okay. Minor terrains. A wonderful addition to the game was they brought in, see if you compare, they brought in these minor terrains, and you could bring them in during the game if you met certain conditions, and then so your die would have both dice in add a terrain. I know I haven't gotten into that, so that you're like, what? It's just an added thing that they did. You do not have to play with minor terrains, but once you get used to the game, you know, the game just kept adding more and more stuff to it. And then along comes Dragonkin and items and artifacts, which I'm just going to show you right up here. So again, all the different colors, and there are different sizes. So these are 1 point. These are the smaller ones. These are slightly bigger. Oops, let me get my camera right. So there's your littlest ones. And then these guys are a little bigger, and they're worth 2 points. And then this is a big 3-pointer. That's the biggest one. And you have to count when you're building a 30-point army. If you used all this, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That's 9 points. So you only have, if you were building a 30-point army, you'd only have 21 points of armies to use. And the thing about these things, they're items. So something in your army has to carry it. It can't exist unless something is there to carry it. And then it's part of the army. And then these are artifacts, I believe. And they also count as 4 points. So you've got 1, 2, 3 with your items, and then the four more if you want to bring in an artifact. Now, what these do, see, this one is a shield, this one's a foot, this one's magic. Here's your arrows, there's your swords. Let me turn it over so you can see the swords. So these always generate that thing. So this will always generate saves. This will always give you maneuvers. This will always give you magic, air, missiles, and melee. There's drawbacks to them. There's pluses and minuses. Didn't use them much in the games, but I've seen them used to devastating effects, and I don't know what the rules are for them with 4th edition. But this adds a lot of stuff to the game. Oh, I didn't do the Dragonkin. So then they added these, again, all the colors. I didn't bring out the black, but there's also black, so all 5 colors again. And there's your 1 health Dragonkin, your 2 health, and your 3 health. And you can summon these into the game. They will fight with your army. They are in addition to your army. I believe they are completely submissive to dragons. So if there's a dragon there, they will like do nothing. I forget how Dragonkin work. But Dragonkin, again, added another dimension to this game. What I like about the game is you don't have to use all of these additional things. You can customize the game the way you want to play and make it your own, kind of like D&D. You have, here's options. You don't even have to use all these different races. But they are... What each new die brought was another dimension to the game, making it very, very interesting. I'm going to try to show you just a basic concept of how this works now. Hold on 1 second here. Okay, I also wanted to show you the spells in the game. Now, these have changed for the current edition. But here are a list of the red spells, and you can see the lowest one costs 2 magic to cast. Waiting for the focus. Will it ever focus? The world is wondering. I can't get it to focus. Okay, well, they go from 2 to 7. There we go. So there's different spells, and some of these you see a race next to them. For instance, Reforge Item can only be cast by dwarves. Flash Fire can only be cast by firewalkers. So some of these spells are unique to the race. And it goes all the way up to 7, which is Summon Red Dragon. So if you can generate 7 points of spells, you can summon a red dragon. If you can generate 14 points of red magic, you can summon 2 red dragons if there are 2 at the table that you can summon. Just showing you a little bit of how this works. So these are just points that you want to generate. Each spell you can cast, but they cost points. Your army generates the points, and then you decide what spells you want to cast. It's very neat. There's spells for all the colors again, every single one, and there's black. So that's how Magic works. There's also, if I can get to them, what is called special action icons. Special action icons for the rare units. So all your big 3 health guys have a special action icon. Everyone's got one. There's his, which is called Counter. Anytime you see the crossed like that, that's the counter strike, basically. Let me see if I can find where it says that. Yeah, counter. So all of them are listed here, every single one, and what they do. So you can look them all up. Now in the original rule book, which was small, they had all these things listed as well. All right, let me see what I want to show you next. All right, I'm going to show you how the basic setup works for beginning a game. There are play mats you can have that make this easier to follow, but you basically set up 3 armies: your home army, your frontier army, or the campaign, and your horde. So these are your 3 armies across the way. So this is my home. That's their horde. Let me put it like this so you can see. So this is my frontier. This is what they have at the frontier. They have just 1 die. This is their home, and this is my horde. So my horde is going to fight their home army. My home army is going to fight their horde army. I did this wrong, didn't I? Yeah, that goes there. So we'll do this. Just bear with me, guys. I'm sorry. It's been a while since I've done this. All right. Now is it right? Yes. This is my home. I have this die that I'm choosing for these races. So I'm Coral Elves and Frostwings, and we're going up against Dwarves and Goblins. Again, the setup of the armies can be any mixture of anything you want. There's no limits to how you can set these things up. So the campaign, I've brought this die because these guys want this die. He's brought the swampland because his goblins get double maneuvers at the swampland, so he wants to get that. So we're going to compete now to see which is the die that's going to be performed, which is going to be added to the game. It's only going to be one of them. So his home, he's got his die. My home has my die, and my horde will fight him. And he's only going with 1 unit here. Well, it's actually 3 units. It's a 3 health worth of units. These are all big units. It's just an interesting army that I just created. So what we do is we roll our horde armies, and we're going to count maneuvers. All right, so I'm just going to roll to show you how that works. And we have 3 because the ID, that counts as maneuvers, that big claw. There's some IDs. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 maneuvers. That's 4, 3, 1, and 1. So then they roll maneuvers, and they got 3, 3, 3, 3. So they got 12. So they actually outmaneuvered the other army, amazingly. So they won the maneuvers. They can either go first or they can take the die. They want the die, So this die goes away, and it's out of the game. So now the Frontier is in the swamplands. Their home is in the coastlands, and my home, I should say, is in the coastlands. Their home is in the highlands. So if I have to go fight them, I can pull out later. But basically, those two armies are going to fight. These two armies are going to fight, and these two armies are going to fight. And what you do is you roll these dice to start the game. To start the game, you have to roll the 8-sided terrain die. I know I'm confusing all of you. This is hard to do on the fly. I'm just trying the best I can. All right, so that came up a 3, that came up a 4. All right, if when you roll this die, if it comes up an 8, you re-roll it. If it comes up a 7, you move it down to a 6, and that's where it is. The game, you win the game. There's 2 ways you win the game. You obliterate your opponent's armies, or you control 2 of the die. You control a die by turning it all the way to the 8th face. Right now, this one's on 2. So on my turn, I can attempt to maneuver the die. He can choose to oppose my maneuver. If I outmaneuver him, I can move this die up or down. So I can move it up to 3 or down to 1. My choice. If the person who turns it up to 8 controls the die. You control 2 of them, you win the game. But just because you control it doesn't mean someone can't get it back. They can do that. And if your army dies, then you lose the terrain regardless, because you're not there anymore. So this one is at 3, which is missiles. We can be moved down to 2 for magic, or I can try to move it up and it'll still stay in missiles. Eventually it gets to melee as you go up higher. 5, 6, 7 is melee for this one. They're not all the same. For instance, this one is only magic on 1, and then it's missiles for 2, 3, 4, 5, and then melee 6 and 7, and then the 8th face. The 8th face all has different abilities. This one's a tower, which gives you the ability to fire missiles from the tower to anybody. This one is, which one is this? The city. The city allows you to, if you control the die, if you have it on the 8th phase, you can promote your army every turn on your turn. So you can increase your health, but you can, it's just a mechanic in the game. And this one is the temple, which if you control that, you're immune to black magic, and you can bury your opponent's units who are already dead. You can bury them. Dead units can be brought back to life, so burying them gets them out of the game. And promoting is promoting from the dead unit area. So if you have a 1 health unit in your dead unit area, you can bring it back. Or you can turn in a 1 health unit and bring back a 2 health unit. So it's promoting, which again, it's a lot of fun. Also, this army brought 2 dragons, brought 2 gold dragons. They're not in the game. They're on the side. I brought 2 blue dragons over here. So if we summon dragons, they will come to a terrain and they will fight. So let's just say I got my 7 points of magic and I said, I'm going to put a blue dragon here. On their turn, this dragon attacks them. And on my turn, if I've got armies here, if I've got units here, this dragon attacks me too. I cannot control the dragon. I summoned it with magic, but it attacks everybody who's here. And it can do very little, or it can obliterate your army, or you can kill the dragon. And if you kill the dragon, you get to promote every unit in your army that you can. Something like that. I forget. And again, I don't know the 4th edition rule changes. There's more terrains now. They've made more terrains. The abilities have been changed for the races. I know that much. I'm trying to think. All right. So just to show you a simple thing, if this was, let's just say this was on missile, and I want to attack this guy, I've got to hit him for at least, he's a 3 health unit, so I have to do 3 damage to him to have a chance to kill him. He gets to save. He gets to roll to save. So I'm going to roll my missile fire. I'm firing arrows at him, and we've got 1, 2, 3. So I did hit him for 3. These are maneuvers, so they don't count. But there's my missiles. So I hit him for 3, which means if he doesn't save, he dies. So let's see what happens. So he did not save. So he would have saved had he rolled this, the ID, or those shields. So the ID or shield. So he had a 2 in 6 chance to save, which isn't too bad. But he died, and he's gone. He goes over to the dead unit area, and it'll take... it's hard to bring back a 3 health unit. And you just keep playing until somebody controls 2 dice or all their guys are dead. The other thing I didn't tell you about, I have to include this, at the end of your turn, you can put any of your guys into the reserve area. So let's just say I pull these guys out. They're now in reserves. They sit back here. Nobody can touch them. They're not at a terrain. While in reserves, I can take an action with them to cast helpful magic. I can try to cast magic, but only magic that helps me. Nothing attacking. I can't attack anybody with magic. At the end of my next turn, I can then bring these guys wherever I want to put them. I can leave them here. I can put 2 over here. I can put 2 over here as an option. And then I can bring anybody back to the reserves. So first you reinforce, and then you just say, okay, now who do I want to put in my reserves? You can put everybody in your reserves. You can say, that's it, I'm out of there. And you can put your whole army in reserves. So now that it looks like that. And they're like, okay, well, I don't have to worry about that dragon attack. He's only going to attack them. Nobody's here. And he's here, so he can just turn up the die on his own unopposed. He can just turn it up, and then he can cast more magic, or he can turn it up and fire arrows, but there's nobody to fire arrows at. So things like that is basically how this works. There's a lot of strategy in using how to use magic effectively. I've been obliterated by magic. I've been obliterated by melee, where the army just attacks in and just massacres my army. You do get a counterattack in melee, which is really cool. So you roll your melee attack, and then they attack back. With missiles, there's no attack back, that you just fire missiles. And there's different rules for different things. There's a lot of things I'm not telling you about. I just wanted to show you the basic setup of the game and the dice in general. Feel free to ask any questions you want. If I can make a video of us playing a game, I will. It's a little awkward, but I'll try. I wanted to do it with Wyvern, but it's hard. It's hard to get the camera situated properly so you can see everything. But I'm going to give it a shot. Hope you enjoyed this video, and sorry for my ramblings and bumblings, but I did it on the fly. No script. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.